Hey there everybody, Brian here. In this video I want to show you this car here. This is a 1 litre turbo VTEC Honda Civic, and this is actually kind of unusual because it's what's called a premium model. The nice thing about the premium is there's a really high level of specification. Anyway, this car is a car that was originally owned by Honda headquarters in Ireland, and then we actually purchased it from them, and then the previous private owner bought it from us, and he's traded back in for a very similar car again. In this video, I'm going to run through the features on the car, on the outside of the car that I like, and the features on the inside, and we'll go for a drive in the car as well. If there's any information you want on this car, Brian is my name, 086 843 1945. There is a lot of condensation coming out the back of the car. The reason is, I left it in the workshop last night so it wouldn't be frozen. It's probably around 0 or 1 degree at the moment. So all that's happening there is a lot of condensation that's coming out of the exhaust, meeting the really cold air. So anyway, so the first thing on this car, the really aggressive looks. So these are Generation 10 Honda Civic, super cool looking car. If you watched any of my videos, you know how much I like these cars. And black is probably one of my favorite colors in these cars. There's one thing, when they come from the factory, they normally have a piece of chrome that goes around the window, and I just don't think it fits in well with the rest of the car because there's so much black all the way around the rest of the car. So we have removed the chrome. So now this car, I think, looks much more aggressive from its side profile. So that means when you look at the car, it's got black wheels, it's got black pretty much absolutely everywhere. Now, some people on these cars, when they looked at them, they didn't really like the black grills in the front and the rear. So I find when you're looking at a black coloured car on the outside, everything kind of fits in together a little bit better. The black sections along here in plastic, they seem, I suppose, a little bit more colour coded and in tandem with everything else that's going on in the car. So it's super aggressive. I love black cars, and those black windows, 2 black spoilers on the rear, which are quite practical actually because air flows off them in a really aerodynamic way. And then when you're looking at the likes of these cars, if you drive behind one of these at night time, they're super aggressive and really distinctive looking. So what I mean by that is it has those nice LED taillights on the rear, and then it has those side markers up there as well, which look really cool. It makes the car look really, really wide. The wheels are a 17-inch diamond cut wheel, so they actually they're kind of shiny and reflective at night time under artificial light, but also when it's really sunny as well. The nice thing about Honda Civic is, like, I mean, there's loads of good cars on the road. Golfs are good, Focuses are good, you know, there's loads of really good cars out there, Hyundai i30s. These are just something a little bit different. If you want something that stands out just a little bit different, the Civic is definitely something that fits that category. Very, very aggressive looking, very cool. But the other thing as well, like I was saying to you, because this is premium, it's got some really nice stuff on the inside. Just before we get to the inside of the car, I want to show you on the key here, right? So the key, if I lock the car, fine, turns off the lights. If I turn if I unlock the car, it turns the lights back on. What's really cool on these is it's got a big panoramic roof, so I can use the key to control the windows and the sunroof as well. And similarly then, in terms of locking up, I can bring back up the windows, retract the wing mirrors, and also close that really big panoramic sunroof. And then when I open up the door, it'll actually pop those wing mirrors back out. Now, second thing, if I walk up to this car, lock the car, so just leave it locked, and that's what most people normally would do, just leave it locked. This is keyless, so what I do is I put this into my pocket and I no longer use it. What happens then is, listen, when I put my hand in, you can hear it open. I open up the door, or similarly when I'm walking away from the car, I press this button here and it locks the car and it retracts the ring mirrors for me as well. That also then relates to a push button start. So when I put my foot in the clutch, it turns white, start the car, and then it turns a really, really cool red. And just while we're talking about wing mirrors, when you're driving along one of these, watch the wing mirror over here. See this little section here? That actually lights up orange to warn you when somebody is out of your blind spot. So just somebody's kind of over here, out of this mirror area. So it's very, very useful when you're in traffic. That is just a good looking car. Like I was saying to you, just have a look at these cars from now on when you see them advertised or see them on the road. It's just that chrome section. I used to like it a lot, but the more I looked at it, especially in a black car, I think it's just, like, if you're not into these cars, you haven't looked at them before, this will make no sense to you. But if you are, you'll really see what I mean by having the chrome delete on it. Headlights are a nice double optic headlight, so good light coming out of them because you've got separate fulls and dips. Front fog lights are standard, parking sensor standard across the front. Some people always ask, why is this flat and this is open? This obviously is allowing air to be sucked into the engine. This one is a radar for some of the features that we see on the inside of the car when it comes to safety. Like what we were saying, this is a nice premium one, so you can start to see now the way the sun is reflecting on that kind of more unique interior. It's a really bright two-tone beige interior, so it makes the car feel a lot more upmarket when you're in it. And it just sets a nice kind of contrast against the black bodywork on the outside. The parking sensors are standard on the rear of the car. We'll see in a sec, it's got a camera. The boot is ginormous. So we've had 4 Honda Civics at home in our own house. And we've regularly gone on holidays in Ireland, and the boots are really good. Like I took a Tucson actually last year on holidays, and it really had no extra space. I really have to say, the boot in the Civic, see this flexibility. So if I bring this across, right, I used to find that we would load up the car and that might kind of sit over. It gave you some flexibility, but it was just there's a massive aperture, very, very useful. And then the other thing as well, the seats are really simple to fold down, and once you do fold them down, then you get this, like, it's basically becomes a car style van because it's nice and flat. If you're left or right handed, then you have a handle either side to pull that down, and then the parking cameras there, and that's, you know, they get dirty like every car, so you just need to wipe them every now and then in between car washes. What about that interior though? It's a really nice place to be. Black, aggressive, dark roof cloth, which is always something you see on sporty cars. You got a tweeter up here, you got a speaker down here, brushed aluminium, beige along through there, and then that so the floor is black, which is useful because that's much easier to keep clean. Kangaroo pockets along here, and then this two-tone leather from the factory, Honda leather setup. Armrest in through the centre, ISOFIX over here, ISOFIX on the passenger side. In terms of space, I was to sit behind myself. So headroom is decent, and I got decent legroom as well, and that's actually slightly reclined as well. But the big thing is when you're sitting in the back of the car like this, see the way you have the sunroof, it just kind of, it's nice and bright. It's just a nice place to be. Moving up front then, electrics for windows and mirrors, the same sort of combination of black leather, beige leather and brushed aluminium along through here. That seat is fully adjustable height-wise, backwards and forwards, and you've lumbar support for your lower back. But what's interesting, Premium is the only model that also gets lumbar support for the passenger side as well. So down through here, there's a little adjuster, and that gives your passenger lumbar support as well for their lower back. You've kind of got a couple of options with the sunroof, and you've got the sun in your eyes. Oh my god. Anyway, I can cover it over like this, which means that it's that teeny weeny bit of light in, but you know, it's a much darker kind of cabin. But why the hell would you do that? So you leave that open, and then if you want to open it out, you can set it as a sunroof, which basically just tilts, or you can open it out altogether as well, which, you know, during the summer that's going to be really nice. In terms of driving these cars then, there is a really wide stance on the road. So if you're coming from maybe an older model Civic or a medium-sized car, it just feels a lot wider and more significant. I've seen people kind of even moving from bigger saloon cars and SUVs into Civics, where technically I suppose they are moving into a different size class of car, but they're just quite big and roomy inside, and just gives you that nice feeling. So I find on back roads and stuff like that when I'm driving them, it makes you feel, you know, confident, but they cruise happily on a motorway as well. It's just a nice significant car, and the engine, that 1 litre Tumpy turbo engine, so it's 124 horsepower, so a lot of power in the engine, especially compared with its previous non-turbo counterpart. This car drives really well, and we're going to do a big service on the car before it leaves. More stuff on the Premium. So this is cruise control, and you can set your speed and take your foot off the pedal. That's fine. The other thing then you'll have is speed limiter. So it's an intelligent speed limiter, which means basically that you can enter a speed zone, it'll pick up the speed sign, and it'll slow you down to respect that speed sign, which is pretty damn cool. This is a trip information meter, average speed, fuel efficiency, all that kind of stuff as well. You saw when you're driving, big digital clock and speed reader in through there. And even things like the cruise control when you're driving, you can kind of judge how far you want to stay behind the car in front, and the car will respect that. Wipers even are going to be completely automated, and headlights are automated for daytime, nighttime, but also for meeting traffic, they dip as well. The reverse camera has, a nice reverse camera like you'd see in all Civics, but because this is a Premium, it has this cross monitor, so it looks left and right outside of the visual field to warn you of cars coming up and down the road that you haven't even seen on your camera, and that relates to the blind spot indicator that we saw already. The screen is touch and swipe for heating, and what's significant about this as a Premium, you get heated seats for the front two passengers then as well. And then in through here, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Garmin navigation, so again you can use Google Maps and Spotify and all that kind of stuff as well. There's some storage. Do you know what, I apologize, there's a real kind of unusual sort of hue from the sun beating in there. Okay, USB connector, HDMI over here if you want to play video, 12-volt outlet, lovely gearbox that you see in all Civics. This one has adaptive dampers, so I can have a dynamic mode which stiffens the suspension to reduce body roll, which means you can corner faster. Again, leather gear knob to go with those leather seats, and another USB connector into there with a drinks holder that can be turned into two drinks holders if you want. The rear view mirror then is electrochromatic, so that means then it darkens itself automatically at night time when somebody drives up behind you. There's a passenger airbag, there's a curtain airbag, there's a side protection airbag in the seat, the same as the driver's side. These are anti-whiplash head restraints, so they actually can be set how far you want them, backwards or forwards. All these functions are in the car for lane keep assist and collision mitigation to stop you hitting the car in front if you don't react in time. So there's lots and lots. These are a really safe car. Anyway, there you have it. That is our 1 litre VTEC turbo Honda Civic. And like what we're saying, it's a premium model as well. Anyway, if you want information on the car, 086 843 1945, call, text, WhatsApp, whatever suits, and I'll be happy to run through information on the car, information on trading your car, scrapping a car, finance, whatever you want to know. Anyway, thanks a million for watching.